All right, and welcome back to another episode of the Push Project podcast. It is pretty wild to think that we are in season 3 of the Push Project podcast. Of course, Push being an acronym for People United for Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus. And this year specifically has been a really special one because it's been 10 years since the existence of the small little nugget of an idea of a song and city that just continues to grow and blossom and also find its way and find its purpose, its deeper purpose. But so incredibly excited to have a human on here today who does a lot of incredible stuff through the lens of YouTube and social media and all the stuff as well. And I'm going to let her talk about it. But Danielle, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, so good. So good. Can you remind us, where are you from? Where do you call home?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, and then I moved to Florida a little over a year ago.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
This is like such a ridiculous question to ask. Have you been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I have
Yes.
a few times. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's awesome. If you've not
I
been, you definitely need to go.
I have not. Ohio's not far. I'm in Niagara Falls,
Yeah,
Canada. It's not far.
not at all.
I've never been. Anyways, I'm gonna have to get your recommendations when I do go. But
Yes, for sure.
anyways,
It's awesome.
can I ask, you had mentioned earlier when we had started chatting, you've got a lot of things you're passionate about. However, I know that one of the things that is consistent to many of the things that you're passionate about is this idea of rewriting the narrative around what it looks like to live with spina bifida, hydrocephalus, or disability in general, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, can,
Yeah.
can,
So
can you,
for
yeah, just
me,
tell us a bit more.
yeah. So I think like when a parent is given the diagnosis that their child may be born with spina bifida, I think a lot of times they're given like worst case scenario type information, which is frustrating because I think it can lead to a lot of misconceptions about what life is like with a disability. And that goes for any disability, not just spina bifida. But,
Yeah.
you know, I know for my parents, they were told a lot of things that didn't happen and weren't the case and that kind of thing. And then, so it then leads parents to thinking their kids aren't going to be as capable of as many things. And it leads them to raise them in a certain way and that kind of thing. And then the outside world, people who have had no experience with disabilities or anything like that, I think they just kind of assume that people who have a disability are just sad and stay home all the time and, can't contribute to society. And I just don't think that that's the case. And so I want to kind of open up that narrative and help people see that there are lots of possibilities and lots of things we're capable of. And, we're very innovative in a lot of ways because we have to be.
Heck
And I think
yes.
that can be used more than it is.
Heck yes. I love that you said that because I think it's again just so true in that if like again through the lens of disability or just like something happens in your life or whatever, finding solutions to be innovative and find a way, I think is so interesting because there's a need for us, if you're potentially born with a disability, there's
Mhm.
potentially a greater need to be innovative
Absolutely.
in how you do things. And
Sure.
speaking of innovation, can you
Mhm.
tell us just some of the things that you do to rewrite that narrative? Kind of those actionable pieces that you do to more deeply connect with people.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a YouTube channel. It's called Daniellability, where I kind of show my life living with a disability and both the things that are different and then the things that are just like everybody else, whether that's, how I spend my day on a weekend or how I work full time or those kinds of things, or how I drive and how I get ready in the morning and, those things that are both common to everybody, but then also I've had to I can start that over.
No, that's okay. Sorry, that's actually hilarious because nobody else can see, but I just saw Lucy the cat just walk by you and just take over, and it was beautiful.
She wants to talk about it too. So yeah, to kind of show people that yes, I do have to modify some things, but then also my life is in a lot of ways very normal and very much like everybody else, you know.
Heck yeah. I feel like the word, and it's always in quotations, normal, comes up
Yeah, right.
quite often on
For
the
sure.
podcast because it's a really interesting word to talk about across our community, and then how like other people perceive what normal is. Because I mean, for me, living with spina bifida occulta and hydrocephalus is normal. That's pretty normal.
Right.
But somebody here's like, oh my
Yep.
God, you were diagnosed with a learning disability and had brain surgery 3 times, and oh my God. And it's like, yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's been challenges in life for sure. And I mean,
Right. But everybody has
yeah,
everybody has challenges, whether it, you know, there's across the board. Nobody goes through life without dealing with challenges.
yeah.
And mine just happens to be one you can see when you look at me, but that
Mm,
doesn't mean everybody else doesn't have something as well.
mm, 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 mm. Okay, I do want to stay on this path of like innovation for a sec, but you're an artist. Love that.
I am.
Me too. Which is again one of the reasons I just knew we'd become best friends, because, you know,
Yeah.
no bias or anything against anybody else, but you
Of
know,
course not.
um, I'm just even personally beyond anybody else knowing. I always am just so personally curious to know, and so I'm excited to ask. Can you tell us a little bit about your artistic journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been drawing since I was tiny.
Mm,
um, and so I just from a young age, that's just always been my go-to hobby. And then I went to college and majored in drawing and painting. So
mm,
that was a way to further my artistic career, I guess. And
mm,
then, yeah, I've just kind of always loved art, and whether it's, you know, drawing and painting, or it can be carried over in so many different areas of life, whether that's interior design or fashion, or, you know, I like being creative and using that however I can.
mm. Can I kind of on that same topic, how do you think that creativity, and either creativity in general or art, how do you think it can be such a powerful tool in creating greater equity in the world of our disability community?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Mm,
I think one of the things that I've always been so grateful for
mm,
with the way that I was raised and my parents is they always encouraged me to find hobbies and things that I was
mm,
passionate about and wanted to spend my time doing. And I think that's something that is important for everybody, whether you have a disability or not, is how to spend your time and do things that, you know, feed your soul. And
mm,
um, I just think that, especially for people with disabilities, you know, we do maybe spend more time at home than other people, or we do need to find things that make us feel like we're being productive and, you know, that kind of thing. And I just think for me, that's been art, because there's nothing that makes me feel more excited than learning a new process with drawing, or, you know, just spending my day being creative and using my brain in that way. And I just think that it makes us feel more fulfilled when we're doing something purposeful.
heck yeah. Yeah. Mic drop. Yeah, I love that. Love that. And I also love a good mic drop moment. So that was like perfect mic drop moment through the lens of art. Can I actually ask, in terms of visual art, do you prefer abstract or like conceptual, and I don't even know. I'm trying to sound really smart through the lens of
That's
visual art.
okay.
I'm not my partner's a visual artist. I'm not. So I know abstract. What would be the opposite of abstract? Conceptual?
Realism, I guess, would
Realism.
be the
Okay,
opposite.
there we go. I tried, Danielle. I'm sorry. I
That's all
tried.
right. So I'm somewhere in between. So
Yeah.
this is actually some of my artwork behind me. Nobody on the
Cool.
podcast will be able to see it, but there you go.
Where
So
can they see it? Sorry, where can they see it?
so I post some of it on my Instagram
Okay.
sometimes. So you can
Okay.
follow me on Instagram
Yeah.
and see it there. And I do have a website.
Yeah.
It's called Ellie Design. And
Okay.
that's my art
Okay.
website. You can find it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I have always loved fashion and I've always
Yeah.
loved history. So I
Mm,
do a lot of like historical fashion drawing.
cool.
And so that kind of thing. So it's out of my imagination, but it's realistic in terms of its people and that kind of thing. So it's kind
Mm,
of both, I guess.
yeah. 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 Now I do want to get to like biggest dreams in a sec. And like come back to that fashion piece and all the things. But I had previously asked you about biggest challenges,
Mhm.
and I loved your response to that. In real time, can you possibly tell us what has been one of your biggest challenges?
For sure. Yeah. So it's interesting because for me personally, I have always been a pretty content and happy person. I don't know. I've always kind of thought through whether that's like a nature versus nurture kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think my parents always helped me to see the good in things and to see the things that I can do instead of what I can't do. And so I've always just been pretty happy in life. And it's funny because people question that a lot. Like, how can you be so happy in your situation? And it's always been kind of hard for me to explain because why wouldn't I be? Like, I have a full life. I have a happy life. I have a family that loves me. And, I have a ton to be thankful for. Why wouldn't I be happy just because I happen to sit down,
Mm,
And so it's interesting to me trying to explain that to people because I think a lot of times they expect me to have a more cynical or frustrated view of the world. And that's just not how I am.
yeah. Yeah. Um, it we of course there's similarities and differences with anybody, but when it comes to attitude, it's actually so interesting because I think we relate in a lot of ways. And growing up to a certain point, I played a lot of soccer, and then I became the smallest kid on the soccer field, and other guys' elbows were at my head, and it became a little bit more. I can still hear my mother from the sideline when I'd go up for a head ball yelling, because I was just a kid trying to be a kid, and wasn't raised through the lens of you have
Yeah.
a shun that is in your head, so you can't do that thing. My parents worked their absolute best to a certain point to just let me be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me
Yeah.
do things like any other kid would do. And then
Yeah.
it got to a point where some challenging conversations had to be had, and that was fine. But
Sure.
there was for a long time where I was raised to just be a kid, but then also around the sayings of like attitude is everything, and
Mm-hmm.
and all those cliche sayings that are such
Yeah.
cliches, but I'm sure you can relate. There's so much truth
Mm-hmm.
to the idea that attitude is everything.
Yeah.
When something happens,
Sure.
how you choose to find say that gratitude. And I think it's interesting listening to you share some of this challenge, because like I hear in you telling your story just how much gratitude you have for everything in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I reflect on that sometimes when like having a crummy day or
Yeah.
something, and it's like, okay, these things didn't go well, but
Mm-hmm.
how many things are just so awesome in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And like immediately. The day is just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Everybody has hard days. Everybody has things that frustrates them and makes them angry. And so do I. It's not like
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
oblivious to the hard things in life. I
yeah.
mean, there are definitely challenges and things that have been very difficult in my life, but choosing to see the positive and choosing joy over, being frustrated and that kind of thing. I'd rather spend my energy looking at the world from that perspective than spending my energy being angry, you
Yeah.
know.
Heck yes. Ah, you're the best. You are the best. I love it. I love it. That energy. I wrote a song a while ago called "The Energy Is Everything," and
Hmm.
I do truly believe that the energy you carry, the energy you bring into a room,
Mm-hmm.
it can either lift that room up or bring it down, and you get to choose. I love what you
Yeah.
just said because you get to choose.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get to choose, and you might. I know I definitely had days where like I do not feel like doing things. I don't feel
Sure.
like teaching people. I don't. I need time to re-energize.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to do the thing,
Yeah.
and I do it as if
Yep.
nothing's up and nothing's wrong, and because I know that I love when I'm talking to a human like Danielle and she's having a wicked time, and that makes me feel great. So I want to bring
Mm-hmm.
that same energy to somebody I'm working with because I know it lights them up, and I
Right.
know that just makes everything go round. And then I also know that after I've given all that energy, I will find my own time and my own space to like go over there and just like veg and watch TV and do the things that I need to do for me as well.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I know I'll
Yep.
find that time. I just got to dig a little deeper and like
Yep.
be that Ray for a little while
Right.
longer.
Well, and 9 times out of 10, when you do choose that attitude,
Oh,
your day ends up being better too,
yeah.
because people feed off of that and turn it around on you. So,
Heck
yeah,
yes.
that's what I found anyway.
Heck yes. Um, okay. Biggest dreams, go.
Oh, man, that's such a big question. So, man, everything from, you know, helping to reach out to more people through my
Yeah.
YouTube channel who either live with a disability or are the parent of a child with a disability or don't have a disability but want to learn about another perspective, to helping our fashion industry to be more inclusive. I think that,
Yeah.
when you put on your clothes, you're presenting yourself to the world. And when you don't have the options and,
Mhm.
the ability to show your personality through what you wear, like a lot of us like to do, that can be really frustrating.
Yeah.
So that's a dream of mine and soapbox. And then, all the things like I'd love to get married and have a family and, all those things as well. So lots of dreams and things I want to do still in life.
Heck yes. Love it. Okay, can I ask, with all
Yeah.
those, is there one that's like and there doesn't have to just be one, but is there one that's like the primary right now? Like the primary, like that's what I'm really on right now?
Um, the primary right now is probably my YouTube channel. I took a
Yeah.
break for a couple years just as I was moving and, life was just crazy there for a while. So I took a break and I just got back to it the last couple months, and it's been really fun to reconnect with some people through social media. That's one of the perks of it
Heck
is
yeah.
getting to meet different people and, interact with people.
Hmm.
So that's been really fun. So I'd say that's probably my focus right now, but any and all of them,
Yeah.
whenever they come my way, is great too.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Um, well, Danielle, I often say, and again, I often say and always mean, I hope this is the start of a continued conversation.
Yes.
Because I genuinely love connecting with our community, and I do believe that, you know, together individually we can do a lot of cool things, but together we can just really be that force. And I love making new friends, and love connecting through this medium of podcast.
Sure.
And gonna have to have you back on sometime.
Yeah, anytime. I'd love
Because
to.
this is so great. But I did have one other thing that I did want to ask. Also, I'm going to be reaching out someday about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recommendations.
Yes, anytime.
um, I just want to say it, and I'm sure anybody listening from wherever you are in the world is just like feeding off of it. I love your outlook. I love your passion. Love the work you do. It really is. It's brilliant. And I said it earlier. I don't think we could ever have enough of it. I don't think we could ever have too much of it. And I'm going to say again, I think the energy is everything. And even through the challenges, even through the stuff that the change that we want to see and we want to happen right now, you carrying that idea of attitude is everything, and that positive, optimistic outlook through all the challenges can just be such, I think anyways, such an important piece to that. And I just wanted to ask if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody across our SB&H community who struggles to be positive, motivated, or find an optimistic perspective within our SB&H community or disability community in general, what would it be?
Oh, I think it would be to focus on the things you can do instead of the things you can't do, and find the things that are fulfilling and, you know, yeah, the things that are fulfilling to you, and do those things. And whether you have to modify it to work for you or it's something you can do in your situation, you know, I think everybody is born with certain capabilities and talents and those kinds of things, and you have to tap into that and figure out what those things are and then figure out how to do it. And I think, you know, figuring that out is crucial to living a life that's joyful and you feel fulfilled by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. Um, as you mentioned, we all have, as you were saying, we all have different things that we're good at and do. I immediately thought, yeah, I cannot draw a stick figure to save myself.
Well, I can't play an instrument, so there you go.
I still today, if I like put pen to paper, I took a business class in high school and I learned to type. Thank God, because I'm a pretty good typer. And still today, I like
Yeah.
put a pencil to paper and I still get asked, "Are you writing with your wrong hand?" And I'm like, "No, no, that's my right hand. My motor skills just actually aren't very good."
Oh. Well, you
Um,
figure things out as you go, you know?
But I'm just going to take this as an opportunity for someday you to teach me how to draw a stick figure, and I'll teach you where middle C on the piano is.
Perfect. I took piano lessons for like, I think a year when I was little, and it did not go well. So maybe you can help me out with that.
Oh, Danielle, thank you so much for taking time out of your night tonight, and we'll chat again sooner than later, I hope.
Sounds great. Thank
All
you for
right.
so much for having me. This is so fun.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.